This is a tutorial on how to create apps in MindCloud. An app is simply a connection to an external service that has an API, such as a CRM or an ERP, and these apps can then be used in a workflow to automate processes. The app we'll be creating today is for a service called Fleetio. The first thing to do when creating an app is to click the Create App button. The name of the app is just the name of the service, so we would just enter Fleetio in here and click Create. Once the app is created, we'll give it a description. Click the Edit button, located here, and enter a description in this field. The description is generally on the home page of the service. In this case, it's one platform for fleet maintenance. We can just copy that, go back to MindCloud, and paste that in there. That gives us a good idea of what this app is about. Another useful identifier for an app is an icon. To get an icon, you would go to the website. In this case, I'm going to the dev portal for Fleetio. And then you would open your inspection tools. You can just right-click on the page and say Inspect. And you'll get something looking like this. If you're on a PC, you can press CTRL+F. On a Mac, you would do Command+F, which will open a little search dialog right here. And we can type in the word favicon. Favicon is generally what's used to identify the icon, which you'll find in the tab of a web page. Here it is. This is the path, and it's a relative path, which means we're going to grab the first part of the URL here and then just add that part on the end. So I'm going to copy this, head it back over to MindCloud, and we're going to enter it in this icon field right here. Click there and paste that in. It's the first part. Let's head back here, and now we can grab the second part right here. Copy that, paste it on the end of the URL. Don't need 2 slashes, so I'll get rid of that. And there you go, you can see the icon. So now I have a visual identifier for this app. The next thing to do is to add authentication. Each API requires a different type of authentication. If you click Add Auth, there are various types of built-in authentications in MindCloud already. If Fleetio just required an API key, we would choose this one. However, they have 2 things they're requiring from us, so we're going to pick Custom and click Create Auth. Here we'll configure the things which are needed to be able to authenticate in Fleetio. We'll head over to Arguments, and let's have a look again at what they're asking for. So they're asking for an account token, and they're asking for an API key. So we're going to add these things in this Arguments panel, and what that's going to do is when this app is being used, it'll create fields where somebody can enter those credentials. So the first one is going to be an account token. So let's take a look here. Account token. So this is going to be the friendly name. This is the name that is going to be visible in the UI. So we're going to type in account token. And as you can see here, it automatically creates a camel case key, which is the standard that we use throughout MindCloud. So we're going to click Create. As you can see, this has created this account token attribute. The second thing we need is an API key. So we're going to click on the plus, I'm going to say API key. Again, it's generating a key for us here. I'm going to fix it just so it's proper camel case. There we go. So now we have fields for both things that we need to be able to authenticate. You'll see the symbols over here. This means that the field will be hidden. It will not be seen in the UI. And this means it's required. Since both these fields are required, I'm going to go ahead and click the star on both of them. In order to be able to test that the authentication that we have entered actually works, we'll need to enter credentials that authenticate in the API in question. Where we do this is in the test credentials area. If you click on that, you'll see there's this bar here with a plus sign. I'm going to add credentials. So in this case, we're going to call it test, since we're just testing the API, and we'll click create. You'll see now that there's this test entry. And if we click on it, we're now able to enter the account token and enter the API token. So I'm going to paste in the account token. And now I'm going to paste the API key. Then click Save. And we're also going to click Make Default. What this does is these are now the default test credentials in our app. So let's head back to the documentation and let's see where these credentials are needed. If we scroll down, they give us a helpful curl example, and we can see that there's two headers. One is an authentication header, another one is an account token header. And in the authentication header, they also want the word token. In the account token header, it's just the token itself. If we head back to our app, we've now finished entering the custom authentication method. Now we can create the headers that we need. So let's go to the overview of the app. And here's our credentials. Now you'll notice this area says no API created. Let's go ahead and click plus here. And the default API is going to be a REST API. That is generally what you'll need. So go ahead and click Save. Now we're able to click on that and we can configure it. The first thing we'll need to do is enter the base URL or the URL prefix. This is what all the endpoints will go on the end of. If we look here, this part would be that URL, because all the endpoints will come after here. So we'll grab this part of the URL, copy it, and paste it in this field. The next thing we'll configure is the headers. So now we are able to enter those credentials that we set out in the authentication section. So let's look at the documentation again. The first header that we need to create is authorization. So let's copy that, paste that here. And if you remember, they also want this word token before the actual API key itself. So let's copy that, and then the word token, as the word token has to come before the API key, as you can see here. Now we're going to reference the data we entered in the authorization section. And the way that we're going to do that is if you type two curly braces, you get this handy pick list. And as you can see, here are the things that we configured: account token and API key. I'm going to choose API key. And as you can see, it filled in that portion for me. So now this will get filled in with whatever attributes are in the authorization. The next header is the account token. So let's copy that. And back to MindCloud. Enter the key and pick account token. There you have it. That will automatically fill in that header for us. That's actually all we have to configure in the API section. So how do we know that the authorization and the API configuration is correct? Well, we'll have to create an action to test that those things are actually working. So we're going to find a very simple endpoint that we can use to test whether authentication is working. So here is one. It just lists all the vehicles that are available. And if you remember, the end of our URL already includes the v1, so our endpoint is simply vehicles. Let's copy that, and let's create an action. We're going to call it get vehicles. And let's stick that endpoint in the end. All right. Let's see if it worked. There you have it. We're able to retrieve data from Fleetio. So now you have the app configured. Next, you would create all the actions that you need to be able to interact with this service. Happy automating.